Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMTrading. Today is August 18, 2015, and today's Tuesday morning. So looking at the economic calendar first, 10:30 we have a CPI number coming out of the GBP, and then at 2:30 South African time we have a building permits number coming out of the United States. Looking at the markets, well, it's I hate to say it, but I told you so. So let's look at what's going on in the markets today. We're looking here at the Euro USD, retracing back from 111. As you can see here, we rallied and then hitting this pivotal point right here, and then we're retracing back. How further? I mean, there are multiple support and resistance levels for the Euro USD. As you can see here, all the red lines pretty much imply that it's somewhat of a resistance or somewhat of a support. We've breached it before, but as you can see, we still, it's still a pivotal point. So it might be a good idea to pick up the Euro USD as it gets closer to 110-ish, 110 flat-ish. So right now at 110.73, because previously we had a couple of resistances right here, and then support, resistance, and maybe support. So, it's choppy. It's not a beautiful graph. It's not trending in one direction and you're buying the pullbacks. It's choppy. It's trading in a range. So, for guys that are scalping it, you could make some decent moves, okay, in this trading. Absolutely. So that's what we have to say about the Euro USD. Looking at the GBP USD, we sold off a little bit yesterday, as you can see. We hit a high of 156 and now we're on 155 flat. Also been trading in a range. Look at the daily chart. We've been in this range since, the larger range since May, but this micro range since July. So the beginning of July. So now we're in the middle of August. We have to see some sort of breakout, either on the top level or the low level. But it's been working out if you've been just trading the range, shorting the top of the move, as you can see up here, and then buying the bottom of the move on 154. So, lots of opportunities there. Looking at the Dow Jones, the Dow really rallied yesterday from 17,330. We were down in the beginning of the day and then just rallied right back. It looks like it's going for a little bit of a bounce here, although, where is it going to top off? Not really sure. I'm still very bearish in the Dow Jones. I think that we've hit the top, but altogether, at 17,786, that might be a good spot for it to. That would be my target for the end of the summer, for it to rally into the end of the summer, hopefully, to see how it goes in the Euro, and that's in the Dow. Looking at oil, flat, dead in the water. We're trading at $41.68 per barrel, as you can see here, and just keeps on going down, down, down. This is a great trade on the downside. So if you're shorting oil, you're making some very decent money, just buying and just, selling out the shorts of it. And that's exactly what's happened here when, we breached this 57 level, and then we just, from the middle of July until now, we're hitting $41 a barrel. This is really unprecedented. It contributed to the tremendous output of oil, is due to some of the technology that's come up in the past 5-6 years, namely by fracking, which is a method that they're extracting oil from the ground that is much deeper in the ground, and thereby, they're taking a lot more oil than they used to take. So, that is obviously being represented here in the price of oil. So it's an interesting dimension of the markets today. Usually, oil is very high when the markets tank. So it's interesting how things are coming into uncharted territory, where certain economic factors are very strong, and others are due to supply or due to demand. Commodity prices are very low. So it should be interesting how that actually displays itself. Looking at gold, really flat in the morning, flat at 119, 1119. We sold off to 1078-ish level, and then we just rallied right back to 111. I mean, is it over for gold? It's gold's an interesting situation, and because the markets are so strong, gold has been selling off. Looking at the USD ZAR, all-time high is 1292. This thing keeps on going and going and going, and keeps on getting weaker and weaker and weaker. You can see this in a in a monthly chart here since September '09. It's really very, very scary because this could hit 13, 14 area. So, uncharted territory here. On the whole, we're literally on the top edge of it. I wouldn't chase it up necessarily. Maybe buy the pullbacks of it and keep a tight stop loss. But it is trending upwards. So, for those people who are in South Africa, some sort of concern. We're looking at here at the USD Aussie dollar, also dead in its waters. Just we rallied a little bit to 78, and then went further down at 73. So altogether, it has a low of 63. So we may come to see that fruit, but as you can see, we're at the bottom of the range here. So there's lots going on in the markets. I would keep an eye on the Dow Jones, keep an eye on the Euro USD for a possible bounce. I would also keep an eye on oil to see if it's going to break this $40 range, and then it could hit even, they're talking about hitting $15. So very scary what's going on in the markets in terms of oil for oil producers. Good for the consumers. It's good for me and you, but obviously it will have ramifications on the rest of the markets. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. I want to wish you guys a great trading day.